Hi everyone, welcome to episode 7. It's a big milestone for us. We set our goals to reach 7 because the average life expectancy of a podcast is within 7 episodes. So today we broke free of that.
Yes, let's celebrate. For today's episode, we'll be talking about, we're theming the episode around inspiration. So what is inspiration? What are our sources of inspiration? And how to get inspiration when we need it most? Hope you enjoy this episode on inspiration.
Inspiration!
Before anything, let's begin with 3 deep breaths together to synchronize all our minds. So closing our eyes and beginning with a long deep breath. And then breathing out entirely. Second deep breath all the way in. And breathing out all the way out. Final deep breath. Fill up the lungs. Breathing out, relaxing the mind and body. Gently open your eyes and let's begin the podcast.
Today we're talking about inspiration. So Byron, what does inspiration mean to you?
Yes. Having a think about that throughout the week, I would think that inspiration would, first to understand what inspires us, I think we should talk about the qualities that bring us inspiration and energy, and then the sources of inspiration, so the people that encapsulate those qualities, and then how we can use these sources of inspiration to become a better person. So for myself, the qualities that inspire me would be the qualities of, the main ones would be patience, because I really do think that a patient person gives off such a calm and positive vibe that just being next to a patient person, you feel so good. The second one would be wisdom. So someone that knows right from wrong, what is real and what isn't, and someone that always knows what to say and do at every single moment in time. So patience, wisdom, and the third one would definitely have to be kindness and compassion. And then of course happiness. So those are the qualities that inspire me to become a better person, and these are the qualities that I want to aspire to improve and develop within myself. And then the sources of inspiration, the people that encapsulate these values, would be the people that are my sources of inspiration, which would be my master when I was a monk, some spiritual gurus like Sadhguru from India, maybe Thich Nhat Hanh, another very famous monk, and the fourth one that I really like listening to would be Alan Watts. So those are my sources of inspiration. But also, of course, like all my friends and family who I can learn from to become a better person. Like Leigh, for example, is a very happy man, always kind and always full of energy. So I learn from Leigh in that regard as well. So Leigh, in a sense, is also a very strong source of inspiration for me. So many friends and family and many people that I don't know but I can read about on the internet. Those are my sources of inspiration.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
I think inspiration comes from many different things. Like sometimes that's what you're seeking, you know, like you want to be creative. You're looking for creativity, and then you go on a hike or something, and you could be inspired by like the natural beauty around you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I think it doesn't have to necessarily be from a human being, right? Like you could even be watching like a documentary or just looking at pictures or art, and it might give you a feeling, and it's something that you want to, or gives you a thought, and then like that's inspiration to me, I think, you know?
Yeah.
So just to go a little bit deeper, you mentioned your master or the head monk at your monastery, something like that.
Yes.
I'd like you to touch on that a little further, like why does he inspire you, and who is he?
Yeah, so this man's been a monk since he was 12 years old. and he's now 92, 93. So he's been a monk for over 80 years. And this was during the time where Buddhism was very, very weak, and at a stage where it could just vanish. You know, like in China, they were very oppressive there, and they wanted to disband the whole religion of Buddhism. So all the monks had to flee away. And so he found himself in Taiwan. The things that inspire me so much is that his mind is always only thinking about what's best for others. He doesn't require much for himself. He lives a very frugal, very low maintenance life, and all the money and time and resources that he has, he always thinks of how he can spread it to other people. And those are the qualities that inspire me. I want to be like him because I want to live a life where I am only focused on other people. I have a long way to go if I am to emulate his life, because I think a lot about myself. I think a lot about how to, benefit and advantage for myself, whereas he is purely on another level, only thinking about what he can do for others. I think from his perspective, he's so content at his level. He's found that inner peace and joy, that everything from there is about giving and serving and helping other people. And so he's a very, very main source of inspiration, to the point where when there are adversities and things in life that challenge me, I think, what would my master do? He was the master that ordained me to become a monk, and he's the same master for over 1,000 monks and nuns. And I would always go back to, what would he do? What would he do? Some people ask, what would Jesus do? I ask myself, what would my master do? And that would usually give me the answer, maybe not what I want to hear, but what I should do.
So take me back to the first time you met him or got inspired by him.
I think you can usually tell from someone's eyes how their mind and heart is. And his eyes was just so gentle and genuine, very high energy, very focused, but very soft, compassionate heart. And because he's very old, he was already 90 by the time I met him, only 2 years ago when I became a monk. He was very, very, very gentle and very slow, very impressive figure, very tall guy, I think 6'1", 6'2", but he was just,
wow.
Yeah, but he was just a very, very gentle man, and everything he says carries so much wisdom, because he doesn't just say things lightly. Everything he says has so much experience and background and meaning behind it, that he literally has assistants that record everything he does and everything he says every single day, so that you can read his diary that dates back to decades, what he does every single day. He lives a very transparent life. He doesn't hide anything. He lives everything, every day, every moment, within the public, and everyone knows what he's doing, because everyone's so interested in what a grand master like him, how he lives his life. So he publicizes everything, all his photos and all his dialogues out, because you can learn from a person like that how he behaves and conducts himself and what he says. Then we can learn how to be like someone like him. So yeah, he really did leave a strong impression in me and how I live my life today.
I always thought about this next thing. It was have you ever been told that you inspired someone? Has someone ever said to you oh, you inspired me?
I guess
said that to you.
I guess today yourself, Leigh, but you don't hear that very often, right? I think, but when someone says that, you inspire them, I think that's one of the best compliments you can really receive, but doesn't happen very often for me, no. How about yourself, Leigh? Do you hear that sometimes from your friends and family?
Yeah, so it's I don't know if it's just coincidence or what it is, but over my life, I developed this great friend group, right? We have I have a lot of friends, but 5 guys, STP. We gave ourselves a little nickname in high school, and it's interesting because as the years have progressed, and I went away and stuff, we never really lost our beautiful tight knit friend group, and we're unique in the ways that we like support each other and love each other and tell each other that we love each other and stuff like that, and inspire each other. Like when I started this podcast adventure with you, and I decided to put my foot like full throttle on the growth kick.
Yeah.
Just a lot of my friends are telling me, "Oh, you're inspiring me," or
Nice.
you already know the ripple effects beginning and stuff like
Nice.
that. And that hit me in a different way. That was like a new kind of inspiration.
Yeah.
'Cause you can be inspired by someone, but to be inspired by your friends telling you that they're inspired by you,
Yeah.
it's like it's just a double, like the energy just is going in both ways, going up, right?
Yeah,
Like,
wow.
you know what I mean? They're feeling a boost, and then you're feeling a boost from it.
Yeah.
So I think if someone inspires you, you should definitely tell them that they've inspired you, you know?
Yeah.
Whether it's just in a single moment or something like that. I think it's really important, because just as it's important to tell someone you love them and be kind to someone and appreciate, make sure they know they're appreciated, to tell someone that they inspired you,
Yeah.
I think it's a different kind of not a compliment, but it's a different kind of energy. It's just some beautiful thing, and when I sit and think about it, it really gets me like fired up, you know?
Why do you think it's such it's so powerful to tell someone that they inspire you? Because it's a big deal, I think. It's a very powerful statement.
I feel like inspiration is one of the most powerful things in the world, right?
Yeah.
And everyone's felt inspiration in something,
Yeah.
because our whole lives, you're observing your parents, your family, your friends, you're observing nature, you're observing media, you're reading books, you're watching movies, you're observing your classmates in school when you're young. And there's different moments that anyone can think of where they were inspired, And so it's just this really, really beautiful and powerful, maybe unique kind of energy to the human condition. And it's just it's phenomenal, right? It's really it's magnificent.
Yeah. I think just to build on that, I think it's also because we all strive to become better, to become happier, and our definition of a better person. And the people that inspire us, they stand out amongst the others because of who they are and how they make us feel. They make us want to become a better person. And so I think the nature of someone that inspires us is that they stand out immediately in our lives as someone special and unique and different. They stand out, and they make us strive to become a better person. So the energy is very wholesome, right? It's very holistic.
Yes, very, very wholesome. Maybe the most wholesome energy, I mean, besides like just pure love.
So Leigh, I'm actually very curious to ask, what are some characteristics and qualities that inspire you to become a better person?
For me, I think I was really spending some time thinking about this, and I think one of the unique traits that inspires me is vulnerability, and more so like strength and vulnerability.
Nice.
So, because I feel like I've spent my whole life, 24 years, kind of building walls up. Even when when I've been vulnerable, it's only been to a certain extent, and maybe that's natural. But when you see someone who really needs your help, for instance,
Yeah.
and then you give them all of your help, all of your energy, all of your love, it's really like that's what kind of inspires me, because then they get better, and it's like it's a two-way street. Then you know that you can do the same for them,
Yeah.
right? And it's like it's just a really beautiful thing, because I think most people have spent most of their lives building up some sort of wall or ego or whatever.
Yeah.
And the true growth that is unseen or unheard of comes from that level of vulnerability that most people don't tap into. But I think there's a big change going on in the world now, and I feel like a lot more people are tapping into that vulnerable side, and they're growing because of it.
Yeah. Why do you think vulnerability is so important in growth?
So I think that you can't like you can't fully recover from things or grow from things or gain wisdom from things unless you actually get to the absolute root of it.
Yeah.
And you might think you're getting to the root of something, but you're actually not until you become 100% vulnerable with yourself.
Yeah.
And then when you're 100% vulnerable with yourself, then you can choose, or I hope that you have others, or you can find people around you that you can kind of share that with, and then you can use that to fuel you, right? Like, you can't heal a wound if you just cover up the symptoms.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even necessarily have to be a wound, but like, you can't tap into your true interest and desires if you're always following someone else's plan or someone else's path, or trying to please other people without like looking deep inside of yourself. And I think that comes from vulnerability.
Wow.
What do you think?
Yeah, very nice. I think to be vulnerable means to trust the process, right? Because when we're not vulnerable, it's because we're trying to protect something. When we learn to trust the people around us, trust ourselves and the environment, trust the process, then we can feel more comfortable being vulnerable, where otherwise it'd be very daunting because we're leaving ourselves exposed. So I think it's a big leap. It requires a lot of faith and trust for someone to open up and become more vulnerable. But it's an integral part of spiritual development, I think.
And I think, you know, my whole life, before even being really, really conscious of it, I've always loved EI, emotional intelligence. And some people, it comes natural to them, right? But everyone who's a human being is capable of like emotional intelligence, like a high level of it, because we're actually very, 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 very complex creatures, right? Like we really are.
Yeah.
We've evolved over what, hundreds of thousands of years. I mean, billions of years if you go back to single cell organisms.
Yeah.
And so we're very complex. And so like, why not? Why can't we tap into a high degree of emotional intelligence and then use that to like fuel us and encourage growth and prosperity?
Yeah, nice.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that might be spiritual, but ultimately, you know, it leads to empathy. There's all these different layers to it. There's so much depth. In emotional intelligence.
Yeah, for sure. So Leigh, like from this conversation, I can see that the things that inspire myself is different to the things that inspire you. And I think everyone can also require different sources of inspiration and are inspired by different qualities. And so I wanted to ask you, Leigh, what is your message, or what is our message, the message of the podcast, to people who are currently lacking inspiration in life, and they're lacking that drive and energy that people might feel is what they need to bring it up to the next level for themselves?
So I think find what you desire, right?
Yeah,
and then
for sure.
The first thing you can do is, for people that you don't know, follow or read and watch people that seem to be further down your path or a path similar to you, because they've almost paved the way in a lot of ways, right? And so you can learn from them, and then on a personal level, connect with your friends and your family more, and try to find people that really inspire you. Like you'll know the feeling, and then don't let it just disappear, right? Cultivate it.
Yeah.
Communicate, you know? Yeah. And then what we said before, if you're inspired by someone, they don't have to be a professional athlete or something. Tell them that they inspire you.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
That is very beautiful, for
What
sure.
about you?
Yeah, I think, Leigh, just what you say, like, I think the first step is to acknowledge what we want in life, and then look for the people who are on the same journey as yourself, and then we can consider the qualities that are required to achieve our goals, and then we can just learn to develop those qualities. For example, if you want to be a very good teacher, you might need, you know, like empathy, you might need good communication skills, you might need good organizational skills, and, you know, like knowing how to learn and listen to your students and having to develop relationships with your students. So then that could be a list of qualities that you might need to develop to achieve your goal in being a good teacher. So I think the first step is understanding what we want in life, and then looking towards people who are on the same journey, and then seeking inspiration from those people. They don't have to be friends or family that we know, because we can also learn from people from past or currently living somewhere else, just reading their books or watching their videos or their lessons.
Yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of the time we're in too, right?
Yeah.
Like, you have, there's such a library of knowledge and wisdom that you can tap into at any time.
Yeah.
And that's why it's like the days are too short now.
Yeah.
Because if you have to work 8 hours, you lose so much time in that. But you can choose to be inspired even while working, and and like you can, for instance, a big one here is adjusting your Instagram feed. Like, you know how important that is?
Yeah.
And it's talked about so often, but I've really spent the last month or so really like adjusting my Instagram feed, following, inspirational pages, quotes, people that I think that are in tune with the same feelings that I'm in tune with, and the path that I want to go down personally, whether that's other podcasts or stuff like that. And it's really exciting, because whenever I go on there, I'm just looking at stuff like that, and I'm getting enthusiastic about going and doing stuff for myself, right?
Yeah.
And that's important, because before, personally, before I was just kind of following all sorts of memes and different sports pages, which I still follow, but you end up just kind of staring blankly at the screen, and there's better time, like there's time that could be used for other things. Instead, you make it motivational or inspiring, your Instagram feed.
Yeah, I think the same applies to your Reddit feed and your YouTube feed. And the thing with YouTube is that their algorithms know what type of videos you like to watch, because those are the videos that you watch most often, and then they will use the videos you watch a lot and the channels you subscribe to and the videos you like to build your feed. So I think it actually helps to consume more wholesome content, more inspirational content, because then those type of contents will continue to populate your feed.
If the path you're going down is like entrepreneurial, you should follow entrepreneurs, and you should read, like, from people who are really giving out good advice. For every one or two really good pages or whatever, there's other people that are just kind of promoting stuff and filling your feed with products.
Yeah,
and that doesn't really help either. And if you're always just dodging, with social media, you're always kind of dodging a minefield of advertising anyways.
Yeah.
So as you change your feed, though, the advertising will be tailored to you, at least.
Yeah.
So just to wrap things up, one of our goals when we started the podcast was to get over the average podcast life expectancy. And we did that today. So through hard work and determination, we made it to 7. And that's what they say. Most podcasts die before 7. So I'm proud of you for doing this with me, and we made it to 7. That's like, honestly, now I got to try and set the goal above that, 10,000 or something. Right?
It honestly has been fun. It doesn't seem like it's been difficult to reach this landmark, this 7-episode landmark.
The progression over 7 episodes is really beautiful.
Yeah.
And so the progression to the next one, like to 14, that could be our next goal or something. It might be beautiful too. I mean, we might level off a little bit, but our minds are always looking to go up.
Yeah.
And so if our minds are always looking to go up, I think our conversations will always go up as well. Over time.
It's so nice to be able to express my lessons, my experiences to someone who's on the same journey as Leigh, and so that we can learn from each other, learn together, reflect of each other. And then if the viewers and listeners are also getting value from these podcasts, then even better. And if you guys can engage with us more, tell us what you think, have any questions, then we can use that for the next episode, and then we can integrate everyone's journeys and experiences together to make this podcast much more complete, much more well-rounded.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, thanks everyone. Thanks for watching. See you again next week. Bye-bye.